Hello, I'm the official narrator. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today, we're looking at Shuppet and Banette. Okay, we'll highlight these two together because they're basically the same. So, I want you to know firstly how wholesome it is if you actually search Annabelle on Google. The top result is Animal Crossing. Doesn't that make you feel a little bit better now? Other words, I like the idea. I'm fine with the idea of like Annabelle and Chucky as nicknames because you're referencing those supernatural dolls. The problem is just their names. Chucky is literally anybody. Annabelle is literally anybody. If they had more unique names, it'd be perfect for them, but because they're just some random people names, it doesn't hold any significance. You can use context to pair the two together if you want, and that's fine. It's just not what I would recommend because Chucky Finster. I feel like I've seen Cheshire before for something else in the past, but I can't quite draw what it is. It might have been like Encanto or something. I'm half and half on the nickname. I don't necessarily see it as a problem, but I think most people who are going for Cheshire are probably going to put it on a cat Pokemon instead of a ghost. I don't know, maybe Berserker might be a better... I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to mind because the consistent smile, but when you consider the Cheshire Cat with a beard, it seems a little bit ridiculous. And worth acknowledging right below it, Bayonetta. So Banette was another one, kind of like Altaria, and Armaldo, where I didn't know what its actual name was. So I was just like, I don't know, I can't read what it says, so I just called it Bayonet. At that time, I didn't know Bayonetta existed. Bayonetta didn't exist. But I could kind of see where you pair the nickname kind of like Armaldo and Armadillo. It's very clearly not that, but I understand it because it's close enough, whatever. Revenant, I'm sure we've seen this in the past. I'm fine with it as a nickname. I don't quite remember what I've said in the past. I mean, when I think of Revenant, I think firstly of Doom, secondly of Mortal Kombat. Those are two things. But yeah, that's fine as a nickname. Don't have any problems with it. Boogeyman, I think we actually saw this on the Tumblr Idiots before. I know we've seen it before, and I wrote it down because I like the idea of it as a generic ghost type or dark type nickname you could put onto anyone. I think Boogeyman would be really fitting for something like Sableye, which would be disturbing in nature. Banette's not a bad choice either. I don't really have a problem with it, but yeah, it's just something you could throw onto a few Pokemon that would be considered disturbing in nature. Banshee, I remember this one being the placeholder I had for Miss Magius, and I'm pretty sure we talked about it in that episode too. Does it fit? I mean, it's fine. I kind of associate it more with Miss Magius than I would Banette, but it's only fair to acknowledge. Dollface is kind of cute. I'm okay with that, actually. That's a thing people in the English language will say, call their girlfriend or whatever. And it's goofy, and it kind of just plays off what Banette is, so I approve. So I'm interested in the idea of Harlequin as a nickname, but I don't know how I feel about it on Banette. Do I think it fits? Half and half, because by definition Harlequin's more like a joker or a jester, opposed to a doll. So, I don't know about that. But I like the idea of also basing off the Batman villain as well. It's going to stand out incredibly well. Just an idea for a nickname, up to you if you think it's worth it. Worth acknowledging at the very least. Now this is going to sound completely stupid, but I've never considered the combination of Frisk plus Thief before. Anyway, I like the idea of Bandit as a nickname as well. Makes me think of the enemies from Mario. It's very simple, but I don't really know if there's anyone that I think would completely fit. Maybe like Red. Excuse me. Thievul. Thievul would be perfect for Bandit. Half and half on Jigsaw, same kind of thing with Chucky and Annabelle, where it's not a bad name, it works very well. I don't think anyone's going to confuse Jigsaw with thinking of a literal jigsaw piece or jigsaw puzzle. Like, I would hope and pray people aren't that stupid. But there's still the small fear in the back of my mind that says, yeah, someone will probably think that. Alright, so Shuppet Banette has so far proven a lot of good nicknames. It's only natural that we have to hit the bottom of today's episode and look at the worst of it. Puppeteer is boring, nothing interesting going on. Voodoo, I talked about this one for Claydol. I don't know why it came from, but that was just that. The only thing about this as a nickname, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think about the idea of the actual voodoo doll based Pokemon. Granted, at this time, where he put it, and even the earlier people on Pokemon.net put it, that knowledge was not known. That didn't become public information till like 2018. So it's no fault of their own. But because we know that there was a more literal voodoo doll based Pokemon, it kind of just makes me not feel like it should belong with Banette. And then Zipper Header's dumb, boring, not interesting, don't care. Okay, so Denny's taken all the drugs, and instead of, like, you know, Banette, Bayonetta, he goes to Baguette, and then from Baguette to Po' Boy. Does this work? Baguette, I'm fine with. Po' Boy, you're gonna have to explain the joke to someone when they say, why the hell? Regardless, I'm okay with it as a nickname, but it's very interesting to see how he takes it in the total opposite direction of any normal person. Dolly Darko is worth acknowledging. That one's stupid but clever. Alright, so there's a few in here that are worth acknowledging. So, 2 of these are actually on my list already because I saw them in a previous episode. It might have been just this post, but Muppet and Knick-Knack, those are both fine because they describe it, but in a different, creative way. Also worth mentioning, Malice is a generic type name you could throw into like anybody, works Bayonetta, Binding of Isaac style. Haven't said that in a while, have I? I kind of like Strings as well. Like, I've seen a few that are similar to just marionettes or puppets, and Pinocchio came up, and I was like, I chose to ignore Pinocchio because considering how many good nicknames we've been seeing, it doesn't really feel worth bringing up that one, and I don't really think it fits him at all, but the idea of puppets is a theme. Strings kind of makes me think of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know where this came from, but in the anime they called one of the characters the Silent One. In the game, they called him Strings. Don't know why that changed, but it fucking changed. So it kind of makes me think of that. I don't know why, but I want to highlight Barbie. I said that Pinocchio didn't fit, but Barbie's just funny to me. Alright, I'm truthfully getting tired of seeing this. It's been like 3 times now, and it's like Marion as in marionette. Again, we don't need to fucking abbreviate words that don't need to be abbreviated. I was trying to see if Marion was like a person or something, and all I got was a bunch of cities, like stupid Ohio and North Carolina and stuff, so, like, if you're trying to name it after those cities, that could work, but as an abbreviation of a thing that does not need to be abbreviated, don't do it. I need to highlight this comment just because it annoys me. Firstly, they're both terrible names. Secondly, why the fuck does Spooky have to be a female? What does that make a difference for? Anyway, we've reached the bottom. We found a lot of nicknames. I would say majority of them are good. I skipped through a lot of the crap. Checking the spreadsheet, it's just tongues. I don't know why, but I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. 0 to 10, would not use. It's weird. Dollface and Dolly Darko were the 2 that I thought were funny and just cheesy and worth acknowledging. 2 I had written down because I wasn't sure I was going to stumble across them today were Muppet and Knick-Knack. I like those both. And then I meant to say this at some point when I don't know, I saw something shiny and got distracted or whatever. When talking about, like, Voodoo and Chucky and Annabelle, I think if you wanted to take this direction and then make it, like, better, just call the damn thing Raggedy Ann. Because then you can incorporate the name with it still being a doll, but it doesn't have any risk of ambiguity. Granted, it's still highly likely people are going to understand it because it's a doll with that name. I apparently don't have a personal choice or anything written down, so I guess I was just waiting to see what the best of the best were and then pick from today's episode. So, I'm still unsure which one I like the best or which one I think I would side with. But there was a lot of good suggestions. And if you have any extra suggestions or ideas, put them in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the ones that you think are good. And don't leave your dolls behind or they will come and get you.